Winner's Circle, the podcast for all Averitt associates, no matter where you are or what you do. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast app of choice so you can be sure not to miss out on new episodes. And now, LTL operations leader and host of the Winner's Circle, Amos Rogan.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Winner's Circle, and thanks so much for joining us. We always really enjoy bringing you these episodes, and one of the things that you've probably heard in a lot of the previous episodes that we've had recently is a lot of our guests talk about being a family and how Averitt and our Averitt culture puts together so much of that family dynamic. And I was recently in our Atlanta East facility having some meetings with our frontline leaders, and I officially got to meet Miss Sandy Sherer. She is one of our transportation specialists, and we just got to talking, and she told me her story, and I was blown away. And I thought, we've got to have you all on the podcast. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the Winner's Circle, Sandy and Brandon Sherer. Folks, welcome to the podcast. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So a little bit of a background history. As I said, Sandy is part of our sales team in Atlanta East and has been with us for a little while. And Brandon is in leadership development. He's training to be an LTL frontline leader, and he's almost at the end of his training program. He's about 3/4 of the way there. But it's just a great dynamic because you've got mom and son working in the same facility, albeit different paths, but in the same facility. So, Sandy, first and foremost, I know that you've been with Averitt for a little while, and that actually gave Brandon the opportunity to do some things during the summer when he was home from school. So, just explain to us a little bit about the story of first coming to Averitt yourself, because I know that you have been with previous companies in the past, but also how you felt comfortable about bringing your son into the team as well.
Yes. Well, I hate to say, but I've been in this industry for 32 years. I started off at Southeastern Freight Lines. In fact, my father was the personnel director, Romy Cox, for all the Atlanta terminals. I was the only person he didn't hire. But I started off as a sales secretary, and then I went to Wilson Trucking in sales. I was there for 20 years. After that, I went to R&L Carriers. I was there for 4 years. I've always wanted to come to Averitt, and when I was given the opportunity, I couldn't believe the difference. It was amazing. In fact, the first time I walked into Atlanta East, I thought something was wrong with the telephones because the phones weren't going crazy and people weren't fussing and all of that. So it was a different world. And I think a few years go by, and our service center manager, Paul King, was like, do we have, we're looking for a maintenance guy out on the dock. Do you know of anyone? And I said, well, my son's home from college, and, I think he'd be interested. So I asked Brandon, and Brandon was like, of course. But I will say that at the previous carriers, I would not have wanted my son in this industry because it was so rough. And I feel that Averitt has given him a great opportunity at a great career, and of course myself also. So I was really happy that he came to be with us.
So Brandon, just kind of flipping the script here just a little bit, your mom approaches you, hey, think we got a summer job for you, but you're going to be picking up trash or broken pallets or sweeping or stuff like that. First of all, how did that kind of strike you? But also after you came on board and saw some of the things that we do from an operational standpoint, but also from our culture, what was the impression that you got?
All right. Well, I'm pretty sure she just probably woke me up from just sleeping, and from the summer. So
I did.
she woke me up and she said, "Well, we got a job for you, Brandon, finally." Um, and I'm pretty sure we had the interview that same day. So I went up to the Atlanta East Service Center that day, had the interview, got it, and I started. I'm sure that week or the next week, and a few things I remember just immediately as I walk in the door or onto the dock. Everyone's welcoming, saying hello. That they have no idea who I am. While I'm picking up trash, like you said, cleaning up pallets, broken pallets, taking out trash. But yeah, just the niceness of everybody and polite. Everyone saying hello, how are you? What's your name? Things like that. It just makes you feel welcomed. Um, yeah, things like that.
So, Sandy, I know any good parent, and especially a mama, very protective of their kids. And like you said earlier, in some of the other stops that you had before you came to Averitt, you would not recommend Brandon working for that. But I think that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the protectiveness of Brandon is probably a little bit higher because of how Brandon got here. And
Yes.
so why don't you tell us that story about, and to be quite honest with you, I wouldn't know that this story would even exist because I would just automatically assume that's your boy, and he is your boy.
Yes.
But it's a little bit different story of how you two came together. So why don't you tell us that?
Well, what happened, it's kind of my husband and I have been married 37 years now, but after 17 years, we were not able to have kids. So we didn't care what we had to do. And you have to watch what you pray for because, I couldn't quite understand that. Next thing I know, we are packed up and we're headed for Irkutsk, Russia, in Siberia. And we were going for one child, and we'd already seen a picture of Brandon. We actually came back with two children. So that was kind of funny. We make jokes. It was a BOGO. but we, for years and years, Brandon, has grown up around here. Not a whole lot of people know that he was even adopted. I think his Southern accent, kind of hides that a little bit. But my daughter is Lindsay now, but she used to be Anastasia Alexeyevna Lukyanova. And Brandon used to be Vladimir Sergeyevich Stevoshikov. So it's really different. And it's kind of funny because I don't even know if he can say that Russian name.
Don't even try it.
So, yeah, I mean, that was when you told me that, I was blown away because the first time that I had met Brandon, right when he first started his leadership development program, he walks up to me, shakes my hand, and, I'm thinking this is a Georgia boy through and through, and all of that. Would have never known that he was in Siberia. And so I think that's such a unique and special dynamic that we have within our Averitt family that we can celebrate because, we're all diverse in many different ways, but we can all come together in common ways in order to be a family and do those types of things. So, Brandon, I know because of the age in which you were adopted, you don't remember a whole lot about your time where you came from in Russia, Siberia. So knowing that story, knowing how you got to have the mom and dad and the opportunities that you have now within your career and just within your life in general, how do you, first of all, see that as part of your story, but how do you want to kind of push the ball forward in using that opportunity that you've been given and accentuate that in the success of your career?
Yeah, absolutely. And first, I mean, I just feel extremely, blessed, and I came into just such a good opportunity and such a good loving family that many people, don't come into. And, they might not be, my mom and dad, like blood related, but they'll always be, my parents, my mom, my dad. And I'll never think any different of that. Um, but just career in general as well. I mean, if my mom never, woke me up that day to, get that summer job, I would never be sitting here. And obviously I've worked really hard at it, with that being said, but yeah, I just want to see, how far I can, grow and learn within Averitt. And just super grateful that Averitt's given me the opportunity to do that with the leadership development program and all these operations managers and service center directors that I've talked to now.
So, Sandy, you've got your family has a rich history of transportation. I think you said that your dad was involved at Southeastern. I want to say, if I remember correctly, your grandparents or somebody like that was involved in that as well. But just I know that there's an impression about Averitt Express within your family as a whole. How do you feel like your influence and your family's influence has been able to steer Brandon in a way that lets him know of the efforts that he's putting forth in leadership development are going to pay off in the long run within his career?
Well, when we adopted him, he was only 18 months old. So he's seen us the whole time, working hard. My husband's also a sales rep in the industry. He saw both of us, working hard, dealing with customers, and making sure the most important thing was to be honest with the customers. And they're more than just, customers, they're friends. Mm-hmm. And he saw that, and he was able to learn from that. I think he picked it up even when he was small, because we used to take him and my daughter to outings with customers, and he saw the way we interacted and everything. So, we try to take credit for Brandon and the way he reacts and deals with people, but we can't. It's all Brandon. He's a hard worker. From when he was a small child, he always was a leader. Yeah, he played basketball, throughout his childhood and a little bit in college also. And he was always a leader, and he always worked so hard at whatever he had his, mind on. And that's just the way he was. We are real proud of him.
Well, you should be. He's a very impressive young man. And, the influence that you've been able to put on him, Miss Sandy, is invaluable. And I know that he's going to use it for many, many more years to come. And excited about not only him being in the leadership development program, but really more excited about what he's going to do after he gets out, because the sky's the limit for this guy. And so we're extremely excited for him to do some very big things for us in our operational team and beyond, for sure. So thank you all so much for being with us on the Winner's Circle podcast. Like I said, when I heard this story, I was like, I gotta have you. This is too good. People need to know these stories that we have within our team, because it's what makes us who we are, and how we can use that to our advantage to grow ourselves and grow our customers as well. So thank you all very much for being on today.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. So, folks, as I said earlier, as you could hear throughout all of our podcasts, there's countless references to being a family and having a family atmosphere. So really, what does it mean to be a family as it pertains to work? Not necessarily in this situation with Miss Sandy and Brandon, but what does it mean to be a family of a collection of people? Well, it means that first and foremost, we care about each other and we care about the successes that each one of us make. And we also have an expectation that we should pull our own weight, that we should do our jobs and do them well, because we are each members and a body part of the team. So we have to do the things that are needed and necessary for us to collectively be successful. But sometimes as a family, we have to make some tough decisions, but those decisions are made to make sure that the whole is successful. And we often have to be expected to do more in those types of situations, but there's benefits to it. And good families serve outwardly with in the communities and within their areas. And when we serve outwardly, that also means our customers, which, customers could be considered like a dinner guest. They can partake in what we do as a family, but there's a difference. They don't have that access to the bond that a family has inwardly and what makes us as good as we are. So think about your role on the team and within the Averitt family. Are you an active participant? Are you doing the things that are needed and necessary for us to be successful as a team, as a family? Or are you that dinner guest who can see what's going on, but maybe not have the access to the bond and to the culture that we have within our team? So make sure that you're doing what you need to do as far as that goes, because the family being able to serve outwardly and to be able to do more things in those areas, that is what makes us being a part of something bigger, something that can provide more success in the future, which means it helps our customers, it helps our team, and ultimately propels us forward to be more innovative, more creative, and more successful overall in the days to come. So thanks very much. That's what's going to keep us in the winner's circle. Be blessed, be safe, and we'll talk to you next time.